Round where we go. It's time to let's go. Round where we go. Round where we go. Round where we go. It's time to each and every Thursday. I'll get ready. Tell your story. Let them know. Check my live. I'm about to pass the scope. Here we go. We on a mission. Hoping you will listen. Amplify voices whipping stories in the kitchen. Each and every Thursday. Round the world we go. Where it all stops. Hey, yeah, nobody knows. Hot topics on the mind. Show to keep you on your toes. Go and check my live, man. It's time to pass the scope. Round the world we go.
All right, guys, we are live. Mary Alice, Katie, Brian, good to see you all. So we are here with another live edition of the After the Bell series. Guys, this weekend, February, is coming to an end. Can you believe that?
I'm happy. Bring on March.
March is coming, and you know what? We have accomplished so much already in these past 2 months of 2021. Some of that being the reason why we're here today is to recap the conferences that we've had January and February. FETC, already down. California State Library Association, already down. The Leading Equity Summit, already down. So let's talk about it a little bit. Katie and Mary Alice, I'll bring up your conference since you guys just literally ended it. Tell us about the California State Library Association. This is the part where you get to reflect and debrief. What have you learned from the conference? What will you do differently? And then Mary Alice, you can speak about the DigSit component of the conference as well. So Katie, I'll start it off with you.
So I learned there are so many amazing people with voices that need to be lifted up. It's been just a few days, but already the aftermath, like the connections that were made, future training and planning and just collaboration happening. I'm already working with, oh my goodness, 6 people that presented on future endeavors already. And it's just mind-blowing, and the passion that these different teachers have. And I love being able to uplift voices that haven't been heard before. And so that was another opportunity with our conference, and still being able to bring it all back to highlight the value of school libraries. So that was another great perk to me. I've got teachers from all walks of life, history teachers, science teachers, there's a math teacher coming in, and still just embracing that library land and librarians are awesome and great collaborators. And we're going to keep on proving that. So you can keep watching for awesomeness from California School Library Association.
That is awesome. And you know what, Katie, your conference was so timely because at a time like this, and I think you remember, I think I'm getting some feedback or echo still. We just literally made a decision on hiring a new media center clerk. And I really appreciated the format in which we followed, and a lot of what I learned from the conference that you all put in helped us to make a really sound decision about rebranding our media center, getting that frequency a little bit higher. And I think that our instructional focus and the importance of what our media center should bring has been brought to light during those interview sessions. And there were many great candidates during that. So I am grateful that you ran the conference when you did, because I think a lot of what I learned from watching your conference helped us in our decision making.
Fabulous. And it's great to get those library staff, because it's a team. It really is. You need the classified librarian, and you need that certificated librarian so that they can really help do what needs to get accomplished for the students and the teachers. If you just have one of them, it's really difficult to do the job that really needs to happen. Actually, it's impossible.
I just kind of want to jump in about librarians. I am not a librarian, but I feel like when I think about libraries, it is like the last place you feel like that's out there, that's free, that is accessible, that everybody is welcome. And when I reflect back on this partnership with the California School Librarian Association, that it was that 4 days, but one day Katie and her team had this like vision to carve out time and space to bring in specifically the DigSit Summit. I feel like it had that message again, like everybody is welcome, all voices. This is like accessible for everybody. And if I mean, I have to toot Katie's horn, by the way, because and her team, like the thoughtfulness from the user perspective, all of the details to make that user experience. I mean, between the box for the first 300 to really making sure that there was a back channel with Discord, and then all the thoughtful things in between for both speakers and the attendees. That to me was my favorite part.
Hey, you bring up a really good point about libraries too, that inclusivity feel. And that was the big push that I had for the conference. I didn't want it to be like, oh, here's a library conference put on for library people. It's like, no, if our libraries are inclusive and the job of a librarian is inclusive, reaching out to everyone, then well, duh, our conference should also have this inclusivity feel where there's something for everyone.
Love that. And I'm back now. I think I've got my network back to where it actually needs to be. I really want to know how difficult it was or if there was any difficulty in getting everybody set up on Discord to have those conversations offline after the conference. Because I mentioned Discord to teachers. They're like, what is that? Is that something in music? I had no clue at all what that was. So was that a challenge at all?
Okay, so I go 0 to 60, Brian, and Mary Alice already knows this. I have no idea what 30 is or any has. It was real important to me with this inclusivity concept too, that we were able to continue the conversations. How do you duplicate that hallway feel that you get when you're at a face-to-face conference? So that was a big push for me. Like, how are we going to have that opportunity? And Sarah Smith actually mentioned Discord to me. I had no idea it even existed. So in like 1 week of me learning it existed, I set it up for everyone. So to answer your question, it's super easy to set it up. And then you've got your link to share. And granted, not everyone has jumped on there, but we were giving it a purpose too. So if you needed support on anything, if something was like wonky, we're not waiting for this email. You're not trying to like put a tweet out on Twitter and just hope someone that knows something reads it. We were very intentional of how the Discord was set up. There was a specific channel to ask questions for help, specific channel to talk about this thing, had a specific channel set up for presenters. We had the room host too. And I want to brag about this a bit. My room host totally rocked it. We did stuff that other conferences hadn't, as far as like our training, having our room host and our presenters connect before the conference. Asking questions, having that feel-good conversation for those that wanted it, sharing the links, any polling, any extra concerns that the presenter had. They were already in contact with the room host, and the room host had additional training that we did after a little like get together with the presenter, so that what people really wanted and that like sense of community was able to get established.
Can I add in that your morning started with yoga, like before the day began? That I felt like also set an incredible tone. And it was about that balance and the importance, especially as we're all learning and working from home, that we need these screen breaks and why they're so important. And I just happened to be, I think it was day 3 or maybe it was day 4, happened to be with my mother. And she was able to participate in the yoga. She did chair yoga. It was just, I feel like I'm going to be disappointed if that's not an option every conference going forward.
So I have to give a shout out to Ashley Brockman. She is our healthy person behind the scenes. And we do this as well at our face-to-face conferences. And a lot of conferences have that. They'll go on a hike or whatever. But then the shift from face-to-face to virtual, that activity, a lot of people have just kind of like, it's too hard to do. Well, is it, or is it just like you haven't done it before, so you're not sure about it? And Ashley just like jumped in, figured it out, and we had it set up so we could still have those options for our people that wanted it. And even if it was 10, there was more than 10 that showed up. Let's say it's only 10. Those 10 people deserve to get their little stretch on in the morning so that their brain is ready for the day.
Absolutely love that fit. I think when conferences add that little piece in there, Like I loved it when remember Drum Fit? Are you familiar with Drum Fit? Where you have the yoga ball and you actually do these drum activities with drumsticks and exercise at the same time. You know, ISTE did it one year, you know, just for one session and broke it out in the center and everybody joined in. But you're right, having that morning activity to where you can get your brain fired up and ready to go, but also having somebody who's willing to take the risk, put it on, that's dope. Absolutely loved it. I mean, the conference was phenomenal, you know, from top to bottom. So truly appreciate what your leadership in that, and then empowering others, you know, as you disseminated the responsibility, you know, throughout that's true leadership to me.
Absolutely. I love that SCED feature because I think it kept me where I needed to be. And just to be able to get that email reminder each day based on the sessions that I had checked marked and selected, it said, here's your schedule for the day. And it was there, and it wasn't me having to log back into a platform and then filter through a million sessions again and trying to figure out what did I pick again and where is it and am I going to get there on time? So I really appreciated that part, and it broke it down just by day, not all the days. So when you're thinking about accessibility, when you're thinking about children or adults that may have attention deficit or executive functioning challenges, all of those things built in were just, it makes the experience, like Mary Alice said, that much more user friendly. It made it more pleasant. And then it's just inviting because people can get tripped up and frustrated if they don't know where they're supposed to be. What did I select again? And then time is running out. And so I do, that was my first time using SCED, and on that platform. And I really enjoyed that platform, to tell you the truth. So I thought it was really, really good. Mary Alice, Global Impact and DigSit Summit. So you talked about this inclusive piece and it feeling natural and organic, which I think that the conference really did. It didn't feel like something just for librarians. I didn't come into a space where I was like, oh no, I don't fit in, but let me see what I can gain. I felt like I fit right in that. But Mary Alice, tell us about your DigSit Summit on that second day and your idea behind putting that together.
Well, I got to do this in partnership with Katie. So we have put on these summits, but this in particular was done like lock and step with Katie and her team. And I think what was really fantastic out of all the summits, we've been doing them since 2015, was the different layers of like topics and themes that instead of having a standalone or curriculum that is everybody's doing the same thing the same way at the same time, which there's some great curriculum out there if that's where you needed to start. But I really feel like what we were able to model was that these are skills and mindsets that can be embedded no matter what your grade is, no matter what your content is that you're teaching. And from mental health awareness to anti-bias, content and curriculum, to accessibility and inclusion, to esports and gaming, to student agency and student voice, all these different ways. I felt like the day I was busting with pride for every single session that was presented. And I got an opportunity to debrief with Noah Daniels. I don't know if you got to catch her session, but looking at visual literacy, so many important conversations happened within that day that I know that as a room monitor, I wasn't able to attend every session. And that's what I really like, is that now we've got 6 months to be able to go back and really be thoughtful, to continue these conversations, connect more dots for more opportunities to collaborate. So it was absolutely fantastic.
Now, Brian and Katie and everyone here on panel, do you guys feel that the topics of these conversations were better received because of the state that we are in with the pandemic?
So honestly, the planning for this was, at least a year before we went into the pandemic. So I think there's still good stuff is good stuff no matter what's going on in the world. So even like the teachers that are struggling right now, I reminded them, like, if you make a lesson plan that totally kicks butt virtually, it's going to totally rock in the face-to-face setting. So same concept here. Maybe some things were twisted a little bit, like the Noah Daniels example. She's showing how she does it with the virtual lens. And so that was a piece that our presenters thankfully like added on. And when we're talking about like mental health, there's a shift of dealing with that when you're at a distance. It's a hard shift, but like we were able to go ahead and address that. So the presenters went ahead and took that onus on because we had built these relationships with the presenters early on, and they knew that our realities of day to day had changed. And so they shifted their presentations to show that change.
Very good. So here we go. Access to these sessions. Those that may not have had an opportunity to register, join in, they might be watching this live right now and going, oh my God, I didn't even know that happened. And I want to go back and I want to see, and I want to, see the DigSit Summit part. Can they still get on? And how long do they have access to the sessions?
So they can still get on. I'm not sure. I got to like double check if registration, I think we had to close it because of Eventbrite, but it's going to open back up and anyone can go ahead and email assist@csla.net.com. I'll double check that. It just pops up in my email. But yes, that's something else we wanted to do because everyone's February is very different and what you're looking like and just how your life is looking at that moment. And sometimes it's that little bit of FOMO afterwards, like, oh, wait, that happened. I didn't realize that was what was happening. I thought this was just one of those like conferences for just those weird library people, but no, I want a piece of it. So yes, having these conversations afterwards, I wanted to make sure people could still have access. So that's happening. We also have an opportunity for people to sign up with continuing education units for those that want it throughout the nation or the world, wherever. So that is set up as well for anyone that wants it.
Katie, can we make a big announcement? Like what we're hoping to, I mean, maybe you've changed your mind, but.
No, you're stuck with me, girl.
So, I mean, this partnership has been so fantastic. The idea is to continue to engage as many teacher librarian organizations, definitely throughout the country, but I feel like beyond, because we have such a international focus as well, and that Katie would really take that lead, in partnership, but to invite other state organizations to say this could be part of your annual conference, or it could be a standalone. Katie, you want to jump in? I mean, I see Katie, if this is the first time that we're saying this officially, is the director of our DigSit Summits, honestly, going forward.
Wow. Okay. Yes. But it totally makes sense to combine because when we're talking like in face-to-face time, we are dealing with digital citizenship like constantly. And then another aspect of it that people don't realize is information literacy is an aspect of digital citizenship. So there's this natural tie-in as well with the credentialed librarians that are doing the media literacy and delivering how to navigate the news and looking at the different biases. All of that is still a piece of digital citizenship because it's part of our digital world. How do you navigate that? So the partnership with libraries and librarian organizations to help get the word out just totally makes sense and is magical. On our day as well with those different pillars, we were intentional with the planning of who we reached out to. So there's something else too, like everyone that presented, like there was the personal ask. They already showed like, whoa, you are super amazing with what you've been doing with your students. Let's grab you and lift up your voice to others. We made sure that the different pillars were all being recognized and a piece of it. So people that weren't sure about what digital citizenship is, like there's still a lot of individuals that think that's just, being nice online. We're way past it being just being nice online.
And Mary Alice, with your global impact cohort, tell us a little bit more about that because you kind of cleared you guys are rolling. I'm watching this Twitter feed and I can't even keep up with the amazingness that's going on in there. So please tell the audience a little bit about what's going on with that and where you're going with it next.
Okay, so in January, for this whole year, how do you still do meaningful work? Like professional learning, I mean, teachers were tapped out, but meaningful, authentic work still needs to happen. And so I questioned if I should still even launch this cohort because of the timing. And I thought, I'm just going to do it. And so in January, I asked partners and mentors if they wanted to join us, and then classrooms. And so we have a real global audience. I know, like Katie and Val, you're part of the partners and mentors to see this unfold. But it was intended to be 12 weeks, but because of the times right now, we had it down to 6 weeks. And that last week was really to be able to participate in the DigCit Summit in partnership with the California School Librarian Association. But we went live for those 6 weeks. And then they were working collectively, like on their own with their classroom on this global project, using these pillars of digital citizenship, to be alert, balanced, engaged, informed, inclusive, but like most importantly, how you are an impactor. And so just last Friday, we went live with 2 classrooms in India, which were incredible. We just packaged them up. If you missed it live, but one was an elementary classroom, the other was a high school classroom. They connected it to the global goals. But when you have this, when students take the lead, as we were able to demonstrate during both the California School Librarian Association and our DigCit Summit, it's magical. And so that's really, as the month of March continues, we'll continue to do our Global Impactor student showcases. And then I don't know when the next cohort is going to happen quite yet, but this is, to continue to connect dots locally, globally, and digitally so that communities get to learn side by side together. That's really ultimately our goal.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, Brian, I think FETC end of February, so that will be till Sunday, I believe, is when their conference access to the sessions that they've had ends. I believe that's what I remember. So it gives people only 2 more days to access the content.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm still frozen. Am I frozen?
Not
Just network issues all day. But you're correct. That content access is actually ending soon. So you'll actually have to go to fetc.org to find out how you can actually get a hold of any of the sessions. And they had to pivot as well, this year, going from a face-to-face, annual conference to a virtual setting. And they really switched it up a bit. If we're going to talk about that for just a second, instead of having teacher presenters, thought leaders to come in, they flipped the switch. Because they are an ed tech type of conference, they had the ed tech companies do a lot of the presentations and lead a lot of the sessions. But, when we did After the Bell, we had some very special guests who actually did some phenomenal stuff, some superintendents. Like I said, we had Tom Murray on, talking about future ready schools along with Brianna Hodges. So we were still able to get a lot of meat from that conference, but it did have to pivot as well, and I thought they did a pretty good job. So
they definitely do. Us educators, we make a beeline when we see those ed tech companies come because they want to scan your badge and it bombards you with all the emails of buy this product. And sometimes we're not the decision makers that buy the products. And so we really want to know the value in tools that people put out, because a lot of ed tech companies will pick the brains of teachers, and sometimes the teachers don't really get to see the true benefits of that. And so we were very intentional about who we had conversations with and making sure that their lens and their focus was correct. And so we appreciate Curriculum Associates and Epson Education for stopping by and doing that. And speaking of Epson Education, shortly here in about the next 2 minutes, we're going to have a drum roll to announce some of the winners for the, we've got a winner, I think, for the printer and projector. So while Brian gets all of that going, there's one more conference, the Leading Equity Summit. Now, Sheldon Akins was going to join us tonight, Dr. Sheldon Akins. But he is actually getting prepared to run a professional development session here shortly. And so to allow him the opportunity, we want to tell you, if you didn't get to catch his Leading Equity Summit, you want to visit that platform as well. And he does a phenomenal job with laying things out in a neat format by day. Each day followed a particular theme. The speakers are lined up. You can see the bio there and be able to just click the session and join in. And that was definitely a powerful summit with some amazing minds, and a very inclusive group of people and varied topics. So we're seeing that, this 2021, not that these topics did not exist before, but maybe now people are a little bit more open to being receptive to it, because the pandemic has caused us to sit down for a little bit, pause, and take a look at some of the inequities that have existed within our school buildings, maybe within our neighborhoods, maybe within organizations. And so we are really, really glad for these conference leaders that have stepped up and kicked off our 2021, because we know 2020 was kind of a bummer. But to start off the year with all of this professional learning, I think it has really filled our hearts and our minds as we scoped yesterday, so to speak. And Katie, I watched your scope and you gave us some valuable tips. Eileen Winokur gave us some valuable tips as well. Mary Alice bought the connection with Mr. Drezik. And please tell me how to pronounce
Samita.
Sumita, all the way in India. And so that was also a great day of learning as well. So if you missed that, follow the hashtag #PassTheScope.edu, get some of that good learning and continue with the conferences. South by Southwest is coming up, EDU, in March. So I know I think Oprah's one of the keynote speakers for the opening address. So, I mean, they are going big and they're having to pivot as well with their virtual conference and not gathering in Austin as they normally would. So, hey, life is changing as we know it, but we are finding ways to still make sure that the goodness is being spread and voices are being amplified.
Yeah, and you mentioned Q in the background. They've got conference going on like right now, right? Partnering.
Yes, Equitarium.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and everyone is trying to leverage the fact that we're virtual, because the reality is, while it's virtual, it actually opens up the door for many people to be involved that otherwise could not get there in person. So the stuff that you all are doing in your conferences, be honest with you, goes a long way as far as making the conferences equitable, so that we can make sure that people who really need it actually have access to it. And that's really how Pass the Scope EDU got involved with conferences in the first place, is to work on that particular equity piece. So we want to applaud you all for putting up what you're putting up, and we're here to support you 100%. So I know that we're getting to the time where we have to get off. So let's get to that prizes. But I wanted to make sure that I put up, how they can actually get access, Katie, to the conference. How did you say they can actually do so, or can they just go to the website? She's giving me the church finger.
No, okay, just 1 minute. Talk about some other awesome stuff.
Well, I've got this. Can they just go to the website to find the information, or do they need to contact you specifically? I know it's .net. I know you're trying to figure that out later on. I know it's .net.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They can definitely go to the website.
All right. Excellent. That's for the California School Library Association Conference, and then also for the Leading Equity Center. You can actually just go to leadingequitycenter.com and to gain access to that event. And FET is actually closed, so you cannot get the registration. Look that up. So I apologize. For
And
that.
stay connected with Mary Alice if you want to figure out about the Global Impact Cohort moving forward.
And you know what? If we got any Spanish speakers out there, we've got DigCit Summit Latin America happening in April.
Ooh, excellent. Love that. All right. So let's give away this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what do we have up here first? Is this the projector? Yes.
There's the projector. So
there's the projector.
All you had to do was get on Twitter and explain why you think display matters, and tag Epson Education and Pass the Scope EDU. And we actually found a winner for that. And that was who? Bam. at
There's the
One Pope
winner
Librarian.
Kathy.
Kate,
Woohoo.
you know who that
out
is,
in
Katie?
California.
Yep, that's Kathy.
Excellent. So Kathy is the winner of. Oh, let me give her some applause if I can. She's the winner of the projector. So we'll definitely get you guys connected, so you can actually get that projector going for you. And then we
Yes.
actually have 5 finalists for. Let me get this off of here. For the printer. Is that what we gave away? Is the printer, right?
That was the projector that we just gave away. So now it's the printer.
Right. So the printer. We actually have 5 I can't talk. 5 finalists. Somebody help me, please. It's just been a long day. 5 finalists for that particular prize. And so we're actually going to do a random name generator for that here real quick. And I'll pull that up on the screen here real quick. How about that? I'll pull that side by side. And our 5 finalists are at Music Librarian 1, Longfellow Tiger, Mindy Wilmot, Tanya Whitehouse, and Shehi 1970. Those are all Twitter handles, I'm going to assume, and not their real names. All right, so let's go ahead and see who the winner is. Are you ready? Let's do this. Bam.
Musical librarian. And those are the 2 that had gifts on while we're doing the show. Um, Pope has got a gift with the fingers crossed going, please, please let it be me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the winner. And Musical Librarian has the Puss in Boots cat on there going,
Oh, yeah, with the
please.
eyes.
Yes. So they are the winners. And as simple as that was, we want to thank Epson Education for partnering up with us and giving those prizes away. So we're going to ask Musical Librarian and One Pope Librarian to please DM us in our Pass the Scope EDU account. Make sure that we have the correct spelling of your name. Yes, you. The correct spelling of your name and the correct mailing address. The last thing we want is for it to show up at the wrong person's house or be returned back to the sender. So make sure that we have that information for you and we will be in touch with you. And congratulations.
Where do you want them to send their address information to, Valerie?
So they can put it in the DM at Pass the Scope PTS _EDU. So just DM us right in our Twitter account. And if you just type that information in, we'll be sure to confirm we've received it. And then we'll pass that on to our friends at Epson Education.
Sounds great.
So much,
All right.
Epson, for like highlighting librarians. We always love that.
All right, cool beans. Any parting shots that we need?
I miss you already.
No, continue the learning, guys. Continue to ignite the passion for learning. Support your school librarians. As Mary Alice mentioned, this is a collaborative effort. We can't be in education all alone. We have to make sure that we lean on each other, the expertise and the knowledge that is in the room, in the building, in the city, in the state, in the country, you name it, on the globe. Let's all connect the dots and do great things. Continue with your digital citizenship and become beautiful humans.
Yeah, if you need help amplifying your story or your voice, let Pass the Scope EDU know, because we're about igniting a passion for learning, one scope at a time. We'll see you guys next time.